Hey, welcome to 30 Ever Afters. Today we're talking about what you can do when a guy asks you for space. Now, it's one of those trickiest bits of dating because, let's face it, I think in 2019, meeting people, meeting singles is not hard. You have dating apps, you can always go out, but you have dating apps. So that's not really the real issue anymore. These days, it's finding people that you really gel with and connect with, and two, maintaining a relationship once you're in it, especially in that month 1 to month 3, what I call relationship probation. Now, the issue with a guy asking for space is, well, I can break it down to 3 things. Number 1 is you're left wondering if this is just a drawn-out breakup. So you're kind of in limbo. You're not sure really where you stand, because that's why he's asking for space, because he doesn't know where you stand. Or maybe he just needs to figure things out. We don't know, which is why this request is always so vague. And that brings me to my next point, which is there's often no deadline on it. When a guy asks you for space, he won't say, give me a week to think about where a relationship is heading. It's often this open-ended thing where you don't know when you're connecting again, when he's going to make a decision. And then number 3 is there are no rules. What are the rules of engagement? So while he's taking time and needing space, are you allowed to see other people? Are you meant to contact each other? What's the go? And often it's up to you, the other person, to navigate and ask those questions, because the guy asking for it isn't going to tell you. So does he really need space, or is it over? There are three ways to tell. Number 1 is, what's his reasoning for asking for space? So for some guys, it could just be maybe they're in a tricky part of their lives. They're really stressed about work, or they're kind of lost and they don't know what to do with their lives. And oftentimes guys, or even women, find that it might just be easier to solve those problems, to figure out themselves without the pressure of having a relationship, or without the pressure of having to make someone else happy too. So this could just be, right, give me some space, I need to get all my ducks in a row. And it happens with male and females too. So it could just be that, and it has nothing to do with a relationship. It's just that he can't focus on sorting out his life and a relationship as well. Or it could be maybe your relationships hit that point where it's make or break. It could be he's deciding whether or not you're the one and he wants to get engaged and propose to. Or it could just be when a relationship is going too fast and he doesn't have space and time to process his feelings. So it could be so many things. So it's important to figure out why his reasoning for needing space. Because, if his reasoning for needing space is, I just want to see what it's like being single for the summer, then you know that he's not really that committed to your relationship. Number 2 is, is this the first time he's asked for space? So often I know so many couples who go on and off, and the guy or the girl just takes space because they want to be single for a certain period of time. They've had enough of monogamy and they just want to date other people. But once they've finished dating other people, they want to get back into the relationship. So you don't want to be the on-call girlfriend who just says yes whenever he feels like being in a relationship. So if it's not the first time he's asked for space, then there are red flags right there. And number 3, has he let you know how much space he needs? For some guys, and women as well, hate confrontation, hate breaking up with people. And for them, asking for a break or asking for space is just another drawn out way of breaking up with someone without hurting their feelings. That way they go off on their own, and they almost prompt and encourage the other person to do the breaking up so that they don't have to do it themselves. Often I've heard it from guys, this is a tactic. So make sure that when you have this discussion, to ask how much space he needs and when you guys can get together to talk about, what his thoughts were. Now, what do you do if he's asked you for space? So he's asked you for space. Now what? I think the three questions that you should ask. One is, how much space does he need? Some people just need a weekend. Some people need a day. Some people need weeks and months. And this is where you can kind of gauge how much you're willing to tolerate. Like, how much patience do you have? How much time do you have to wait around to see if this guy wants to be in a relationship or not? And number 2, the second question is, what are the rules of engagement? So let's just say he wants to take time off your relationship and needs some space. Are you allowed to date other people? Is he allowed to date other people? And are you guys going to keep in touch? And if so, how often? So setting these boundaries from the get-go will prevent you from having all this anxiety about, what is he doing? He hasn't called me. Well, if you guys decided that you guys weren't going to call each other, then you shouldn't expect a call. So this is all about managing and setting expectations. And number 3, so just make sure that you guys have a deadline for this space, because you can't be waiting forever. So just make sure that you guys are going to get together and chat about it, in a week's time, in a month's time. Even if he needs a couple of months and you're willing to wait a couple of months, you can do monthly check-ins to see how he's feeling so that both parties know where they stand at all times. Now, the one question I get asked is your relationship doomed because he's asked for space? And the question is no. Some people just need time, especially if a relationship is changing or transitioning and they don't know how to cope with change. It doesn't always necessarily mean it's a breakup. Sometimes people just need to be apart to be stronger together. So if you guys ask you for space and you're kind of taking up time in your relationship, I know how much anxiety this could give you, but here are a couple of things you can do to manage that anxiety. So number 1, give him space and lean back. Turn off all your social media accounts. It just will make your imagination run wild over something that really isn't there. So get off your social media account so you're not looking at his account, you're not looking at yours, and you're not trying to compete with him by, posting grams and stories about how fun your life is and how much he's missing out on. That's just competitive games. Fill your social calendar so that you don't even have time to think about your relationships. Just keep really busy doing the things you like. So again, what you need to know is just because a guy asks for space and time doesn't mean that the relationship is over. This is where relationship mindset really kicks in so that you have a strong foundation so you're not getting the anxiety from dating and from waiting around. So I'll put a link to the course. It's called Mindset Makeover, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks for watching, and if you like this, don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.